So for slope-intercept form, the first thing we're going to do is just kind of review slope, what we talked about previously. So slope, in slope-intercept form, if you don't know what that is, if you want to go ahead and write that first down here, it is y equals mx plus b, which that should be a review for most of you. So our slope in that form is m. And as we learned before, m is rise over run. And then the y-intercept is b, and we usually write that as a point, so it's going to be 0, comma b, 0, comma y, because it is the y-intercept, so it crosses the y-axis at that point. So in our slope-intercept form, we have our m and we have our b. So again, the m, that's our slope, and then our b, that's our y-intercept. So for graphing, I'm going to give you kind of a list of steps to follow to go through as you are graphing. Hopefully this helps you if you haven't done this before. So the first thing that we need to do is start at B on the y-axis. So for this one over here to the right, my B is 2. So I'm going to start on the y-axis and make a point on 2. The next thing I'm going to do is rise over run. So I'm going to find my slope. And remember, rise, you go up if it's a positive slope, and you're going to go down if it's a negative slope. And then run, you'll go to the right. So my slope here is negative 4 over 5, which means I'm going to go down 4 and then to the right 5. So from this point, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to put a point there. I would recommend 3 dots to graph, so I'm going to do that one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and put a dot there as well. Then connect your dots. And the line is graphed. And now the last step isn't really something to do, but you should double check the direction of your line. So this is one of the most common mistakes that I see is the direction of the line. So if a line goes like this, it's a positive slope. And if a line goes like this, it's a negative slope. So looking at my graph over there, I'm going to double check that because my slope was negative, that I drew a negative line. So my line should have gone in this direction, and it did. So that is correct. Okay, so on this next one, again, I'm going to start right here at negative 1. That's my B, so I'm going to start right here. Now my slope here, it just says 5. So this means that I'm going to go up 5 and then to the right 1. So really it's like 5 over 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then to the right 1. And then one more time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then to the right 1. And then again, connect those dots. And I'm going to double check my slope was positive, and I did make a line in a positive direction. So on this next page, we're going to start with horizontal and vertical lines, which do confuse people sometimes. So if I see y equals 6, I'm going to first start at 6 on the y-axis. So I'm going to go to the y-axis, and I'm going to find 6, and I'm going to make a dot, and this is going to be a horizontal line. And one way to help you remember this is going to be a horizontal line is that if I were to draw a vertical line here, what am I doing really? I'm just retracing the axis. So that's not going to help me. I don't want to retrace the axis. So unless you have x or y equals 0, then you shouldn't be retracing the axis. So you can probably guess what the next one is going to be. We're going to start at negative 3 on the x-axis and then make a vertical line. So I'm going to go to my x-axis, negative 3. If I went horizontal, again, I'd be retracing the axis, so that's not right. So I'm going to go vertical, up and down. So those ones are pretty easy. It's just getting mixed up on whether it's horizontal or vertical. The next part is making an equation given a graph. So we have to find the slope and the y-intercept. Step 1 and 2 are kind of interchangeable. I think it's easier to find the b first. So I'm going to go to my graph and just look for where it crosses the y-axis. So on my first one, here my b is going to be 1 because that's where it crosses the y-axis. Then you have to find your slope, and you're just going to count rise over run. So to know where I'm going to count to, you want to look for where this red line is crossing what we call crosshairs. So crosshairs are kind of like when you have a graph, it's like these little points where they are meeting, where the lines of the graph meet. Those are called crosshairs. So if you see right here is the other point that it is crossing evenly. And now from there, I'm going to count. So I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3. And because I went down, that's a -3. Then I'm going to go to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4. To the right 4. That means that my m would be -3 over 4. Now all you have to do is plug in your m for the m here, and then your b for the b here. So my line would be y equals -3/4 x plus 1. Now if you want to pause the video and see if you can try this next one on your own, and then start it again, and I'm going to go through it. So the point where it crosses evenly right here on the y-axis is right here, and then I'm looking for another place where it crosses evenly on a crosshair, so I'm going to go right here. So this means that my b is going to be 3, and then I'm going to count for my slope. I'm going to go up 2, because I went up, that's a +2, and then to the right 1. So my m would be 2 over 1. Now again, just plug those into the equation. So y would equal, and 2 divided by 1 is just 2, so I'm going to have 2x plus 3, because I can simplify that fraction.